Hello, my name is Lorin Flores. I'm a librarian one at San Antonio Public Library. Today, my colleague Michael and I are going to be presenting Twitch and Discord New Opportunities for Adult Services. Welcome to our presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Michael now.
Thank you, Lorin. My name is Michael Dunbar-Rodney, and I'm also a librarian one with the San Antonio Public Library. And I'm very much looking forward today to discussing how these online platforms have the potential to help those of us working with adult services.
Thank you, Michael. Today we're going to discuss the following items: the impact of COVID-19, which is the elephant in the room, Twitch and Discord, current uses and practices, possible uses for Twitch and Discord in libraries, digital literacies, and then we'll finish up with the impact of the digital divide. And I'll turn it over to Michael.
When Lorin and I first started working on this presentation back in the fall of last year, Twitch was really starting to edge into the mainstream. Even a few libraries had started to pick it up as a potential tool for programming. But it was still more on the fringes of everything that was happening. And we had no idea what was about to hit, like everyone else. Then in March, the social distancing measures began, staying 6 feet away, making sure to wear a mask when you're out in public to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. And then in April, all the quarantine measures were put into place. Non-essential businesses closed down, non-essential services were closed, and this included the library. And when that happened, there was a noticeable mass migration into the online world. And not just services, but also art, pop culture, and of course for the libraries, programming, and other means of remaining connected with our communities during this time. Um, and so with this sudden online rush, there was a demand for these online platforms and using them as a means of connection. Of course, Zoom became really big, and we do use that sometimes for some of our programs. But in this time, that means Twitch and Discord, um, it's not no longer just about their potential, it's the necessity of having these tools to connect with our library patrons. And of course, even as restrictions are lifting, social distancing and concerns about the virus means that remaining distant and online is the new normal and will likely be the new normal for a long time to come. And so this massive online migration is kind of the path that has been set for us and is important for us to work with it, um, and help not just libraries but our communities through this time. And now I'll go ahead and pass it on over to Lorin, who's going to talk about why, out of the platforms that are out there, we are choosing to focus on Twitch and Discord.
There were three factors that interested us about Twitch and Discord as platforms. One was the audience and market share of each platform, features and developments, and ease of use and familiarity. For market share, Twitch is one of the most popular social live streaming services, or SLSS. Technically, Twitch is a TLSS, which means that it is topic specific to gaming, but that is changing. Discord is very popular with younger people and seems to be growing in popularity across all age groups. As far as features and developments, there have been a couple of interesting things that have happened lately. And of course, we're recording this session a little bit early, so there may be some extra information that we can share afterwards. But currently, Twitch has added a watch party, which is a really interesting feature. It allows a streamer that has Prime membership to show Amazon Prime movies. The folks that are watching the movies with the streamer at the watch party also have to have Amazon Prime, but still, that opens up some interesting possibilities. Discord is really more of a communication platform. It really isn't a streaming platform at all. However, they have added some limited streaming, so groups of 10 people can stream. And that's really useful too for group work and other applications. And as far as ease of use and familiarity, Twitch and Discord are pretty well known. They're becoming more well known because of esports and gaming and the rise of enthusiasm for those two things. Also, Twitch has been described as a third place, so that would be a place between home and work. And that seems to open up some possibilities that Twitch might be a place for people to interact in a different space.
Thank you, Lauren. So let's go ahead and take a look at some information behind these platforms. So Twitch was originally created as an esports streaming platform. Some of you may have seen or remember, big StarCraft tournaments, or of course League of Legends is very popular, and is a way for these esports leagues to get their games out to their audiences. Even before quarantine, Twitch had started to branch out into more mainstream areas and get to a more mainstream audience. Some of the avenues it's looked at is tutorials for handicrafts or other non-game related subjects. And of course, for Dungeons and Dragons players, it was a way to create an audience for their games. And now, with quarantine and the need for social distancing and the massive online migration that it created, it's even now growing in different directions and branching out in unexpected ways. So before we get into that, let's kind of look at who's using Twitch right now. As might be expected of a gaming demographic, the users are predominantly male, 65% male users versus 35% female users. But what might be unexpected is over 50% of the users are above the age of 24. When we think of gaming and gaming related tools, we often think of teens or at generally the very oldest, maybe early 20s. But in fact, the majority of users who uh, use Twitch as a platform are actually well within adult services range, which is one of the reasons we've been looking at this platform as a means of programming. So one of the interesting features that Lorin talked about a little earlier is the Amazon Watch Party. That's one of the ways it's been branching out, creating more of a social environment than a sort of performance environment that it might typically use. The other is possibly creating reality shows for Twitch. Now, looking into that a little more, it looks like the reasoning behind that is with Twitch, you do actually get to interact with your audience. You have the comments going, and it's a means for everyone to have a back and forth with the streamer. And so it may be that Twitch is going to create game shows in which the audience can actually influence the game or speak with the contestants. So keeping in mind this back and forth between streamer and the audience, that may be something you can incorporate into future programs. Now for Discord, Discord is pretty much a purely communicative tool. It's a multi-channel voice and text platform similar to Slack, and it began originally as a way for gamers to communicate with each other in-game. You could talk with your team over Discord while you were playing the game in real time. At this time, we don't really have any statistics on the users, so we can't really give you a gender or age breakdown, but it is increasingly popular with teens and young adults. What the hard numbers are on that, as I've said, not yet quite sure. Now, in terms of streaming, Discord is a little bit more limited than Twitch. If you're doing a chat platform, it's going to be groups of about 10 or less. However, if you're just doing strictly text chat, there's no real size limit on the group. And the thing with Discord is once you have your account, you can make a lot of different servers, which are essentially the different chat rooms. So you can create each one for each of your interests, or if you're only into a single game, for each group that you play with. And it's not limited to gaming. There are actually library Discord servers where we talk about emerging technologies and librarianship. There are hobby discords, and these can be a key way to encourage communication with people who are interested in certain types of your programming. Lorin has an excellent use of this. She has program called Cinema Terrible, where she shows, these old grade B films, um, the kind of stuff from Mystery Science Theater 3000, and she has a Discord channel set up so that while people are watching the film, they can actually chime in and heckle it without any concern for it being disruptive or impinging on the enjoyment of other patrons. Um, so I'm going to go ahead at this time and pass it back to Lauren because she's going to give you a few examples of how Twitch is being used in libraries.
Thank you, Michael. There are not very many libraries using Twitch for adult services. There's slightly more that are using Twitch for teen services. What we've done is we've collected some of the examples that we've seen for adult services and in some cases for teens and have put them in 4 different categories. The first category is gaming and esports, which of course is a really good fit for Twitch because it is part of that culture. And examples that we've seen have been streamed tournaments, also related programs such as board games and game development workshops. In addition, some libraries use Twitch to support initiatives. Examples of that would be Sacramento Public Library, which has a digital inclusion initiative, and also Cleveland Public Library that has CPL Play, which is a gaming initiative. We've also seen several online workshops, and they can range from a genealogy workshop to job-related skills. Interestingly enough, a professional network called Techlahoma was booking library space so that they could stream tech-related workshops on Twitch. Although Techlahoma did not work directly with the public libraries, this might be a way that libraries could collaborate and partner with other places to provide programming. Then we have a category for other programs, and these are very, very varied. It includes things like having a channel open with art so that patrons can come and watch throughout the month of February. Also book clubs conducted in Twitch, even though a lot of people say that they prefer Discord for that purpose. And then of course, arranging guest speakers to visit via stream. I'm going to turn it over to Michael now.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Discord in the library realm. Now, one of the interesting things about Discord is that it can be used amongst the library staff as well as between the library staff and the public. So one of the neat things is potentially using Discord for professional communication, creating servers where different library systems who are maybe trying to do the same program or trying to get a certain practice off the ground can come together and discuss what's working, what isn't working, share ideas, and support. Another idea for Discord is intra-library communication, creating individual staff servers that have potential for people to sort out conflicts in policy or that have questions about certain operations. I know at our library we do have a fair number of departments, so it could be useful to have places where people of different departments can go to ask questions to make sure that we aren't causing any workflow issues down the line for someone else. And it's also a way to facilitate learning among staff of the different roles that people play in the function of the library. Now, in terms of programming, gaming, of course, is a good focus for Discord. That is what it was originally intended for. If you are doing video game programs, like we have a Mario Kart program going on right now, creating a Discord server might be a means for players to communicate with each other, kind of enhance the experience. Or if you're into tabletop or role-playing games, Discord makes for a great Dungeons and Dragons platform if you can't meet up in person. You can also use what are called die bots on Discord so that you can roll die online, and so that the whole group can see in the chat. Now, another means of using Discord in the library are clubs, discussion groups. Book clubs is a great way to do it, especially if you have homebound patrons and once we're out of quarantine, they still are not able to make it down to the library. It's a way to boost their participation. There is, of course, cinema clubs. I mentioned earlier Lorin's Cinema Terrible program, which is a lot of fun. And if you want to follow the same Mystery Science Theater 3000 route, you can create heckling Discord rooms where people can uh, watch videos and contribute commentary without it getting out of hand in terms of volume and possible rowdiness within the library itself. Just it's important to keep in mind the certain limitations that Discord has. If you're doing a voice chat, you want to keep it a smaller group, 10 or below. But if you are just doing text chat, as many as you want, and that can create a great and rich discussion. Um, Lorin will touch on this a bit later, but another part of Discord is it, unlike say like Facebook or other social media platforms, Discord doesn't really save your conversations. It's not an archival tool, but Lauren will talk about that more in a little while. You can go ahead and turn it back over to her.
Thank you, Michael. As far as we know, there is no one sheet or webpage that tells us the best practices for Twitch and Discord for libraries yet. If one does appear between the time that we recorded this presentation and the time that it is actually presented, please let us know after the presentation is over. We'd be really interested to see it. Otherwise, what we've done is look at some general best practices for Twitch and Discord and combine them to have a list of the things that we feel are probably the best practices at this point. So for Twitch, best practices appear to be a combination of equipment and broadcast practices, and these are broadly applicable to streaming in general. There are also best practices related to streamers and moderators because in streaming, moderators are more than just a person that ejects people that are misbehaving. A moderator in streaming is a facilitator and almost like a co-presenter. Other things that people have recommended are to be consistent with your schedule, to be sure to market and promote your streams or programs, and of course to have adequate equipment and software. For Discord, and as Michael mentioned, it is not an archival tool. It's not a place to store files. It is basically a place for people to have conversations. And so this quote is from a best practices webpage from a gaming Discord server. And what they've said is it's a communication tool and not a vault. So that's a big thing to remember. The other big thing about Discord servers is organization is key. So you'll have lots of different channels, lots of different conversations, and it's very helpful to have a well-organized server. We did find some library-specific recommendations on social media, and it is to be sure to connect with local servers to promote your programs. So if you're having a cosplay program, you'll want to see if you have a local cosplay server so you can tell them all about your program. Other things to remember are don't @ everyone because it sends a message to everyone in the server and that's extremely annoying. Be sure to keep posting. You want to make sure that the conversation on your server is active because no one's going to want to hang out on a dead server. And you want to create a welcoming environment. I'm going to turn it over to Michael now.
So here's a look at some of the equipment you'll need in order to make use of Twitch and Discord. Fortunately, it's a pretty small list. For both of them, of course, you will need broadband internet access. For Twitch specifically, you will need a computer with a built-in microphone and webcam. Most of them come with those nowadays, so it's usually not too much of an issue. Now, depending on what kind of program you're doing, if you need a slightly more elaborate setup or if you need a higher quality stream, you're going to want to invest in an extra webcam, possibly a microphone, and additional lighting, depending on how elaborate your stream program is going to be. You will also need an encoder. This is a piece of software that takes the live stream and converts it into data that can be run through the Twitch streaming program. Basic Twitch Studio basically the most basic package you can get. Doesn't need a separate encoder. However, if you're going to do more elaborate layouts or something more involved, possibly involving multiple people or bringing in an outside stream onto the Twitch channel, you are going to want a separate encoder. The OBS software is free, it's open source, you don't have to pay anything for it. There will be a little bit of a learning curve as you learn to use it and take on its different capabilities, but it's at no cost to the library itself. There are mobile apps with the streaming capability available for smartphones. You'll want to test them out though to make sure that they are going to provide the quality you want or need for your particular program. Discord's even simpler than any of this. All you need is a computer with a microphone and video or a smartphone. Either one works just fine. Discord is also a free program as well. And you can find it in any app store and online. And now I'll let Lorin take it from here.
Libraries can use the ways that Twitch and Discord are used in higher education and beyond as a way to plan events and consider programs. Twitch is used in higher education for informal learning. These would take the form of events such as spectator coding, academic journal clubs, game clubs, and also informal mentoring. Faculty also use Twitch for lectures and supplemental materials, and they also use Twitch to create or set personal appointments for their students and have office hours. Discord is used in higher education as well. It's used in a slightly different way. The strength of Discord, of course, is in its community building purposes. And so it's very helpful to create a learning community in Discord, a class of people where people can socialize, they can access informal mentoring and tutoring. It's also a tool that can be used to track students' participation in discussions, and so it's an accountability tool. Both Twitch and Discord in higher education are also noted as being an avenue for English as second language learning. Outside of higher education, Twitch and Discord have other interesting uses that might be adapted for library use. Artists have streams on Twitch, which they use to demonstrate themselves at work and also to promote themselves. Musicians are also on Twitch. In fact, because of the pandemic, there have been many DJs that have switched to Twitch so that they're able to have shows. It's become so prevalent that there's even been an article that was published recently in Rolling Stone talking about the phenomenon. Also, other performers such as theater troupes and dancers and improv troupes have also migrated to Twitch because they're unable to have physical shows. And people that give informal types of classes, like cooking classes or demonstrations, are using Twitch as well. Both Twitch and Discord can be used for socializing for groups of people that are unable to meet anywhere else. We've already mentioned watch parties, which is a feature that's fairly new for Twitter, where users and streamers with Amazon Prime can watch content from Amazon Prime that's streaming and comment on it. And lastly, Discord has been used in escape rooms as a means to communicate with people that are locked into the room and trying to solve puzzles. They're examples of possibilities for Twitch and Discord to support library outcomes. For vocational outcomes, Twitch is famous for their pro streamers that make lots of money and can maybe even make a living just gaming and streaming. It's interesting because when viewed that way, a streaming class might be considered a type of job training. Also, Twitch is famous, or well known rather, for being a place where people with mental health illnesses and physical disabilities can earn an income and also express themselves via art and other creative ways. Lastly, Streaming skills are transferable to other careers. And if you're a good enough esports player, you might even get a scholarship to a college or university. For library educational outcomes, Twitch and Discord have shown in higher education that they're well suited for classes in various types and modalities. It may be fairly easy to adapt a class or an event to Twitch or Discord depending on the type of class that you want to do and how you want to run it. In terms of community support, Twitch is excellent and Discord as well with connecting people and communities all together. They serve as informal meeting places for people to socialize without being physically present. And of course, in this particular day and age, that is definitely a plus for everyone's health and safety. Also, educational outcomes such as classes and community events extend library services to people who are unable to physically come to the library or are at a distance. In addition, Discord is known as a place where gender diverse people can create communities and socialize, and it functions as a safe space for them. On a related note, streaming has been described as a complex digital literacy practice. Librarians should be aware of streaming as it can be considered possibly a new aspect of digital literacy. It will be helpful for our patrons in the future for librarians to be able to teach them these new digital skills. As our daily lives migrate online, more and more people are becoming aware of the members of our community that lack access to the internet. Our patrons need internet access to get to our virtual programming and also our digital resources. Librarians should be aware that there's several levels of digital divide. Libraries have been very, very active in alleviating barriers to access, especially when it comes to accessing the internet either via library computer or via device on Wi-Fi. However, there's still two other layers of digital divide that we should be aware of when we're planning different programs. The second level of digital divide is what people experience when they have sporadic access to the internet. So they may have it temporarily, maybe they lose access because a bill is not paid or something like that, and they may rely on library computers to get their internet access. They also often have digital literacy skills that are not as developed because they haven't been able to use the internet enough. The third level digital divide is when people start to experience negative outcomes related to the first and second digital divides. So these are the offline negative outcomes that they experience in life. It's interesting as librarians because in solving the digital divide, home broadband access has been normally what people focus on. Though there's been a paper published recently that has talked about instead focusing on institutional access, and that might have interesting implications for librarians and libraries. At the very least, librarians should consider these questions and these problems when exploring new platforms like Twitch and Discord.
And another way that libraries can assist in reducing the digital divide within our communities isn't just access, it's also teaching our communities how to use these tools and the necessary knowledge that needs to come beforehand. Not just connecting people with the internet, but teaching them how to navigate it, how to use it, how to find resources on it, and teaching them not to be afraid of computers, how to navigate them with confidence and precision. And so this is a way that libraries, combined with introducing the public to these digital platforms, can really work to close that gap that can undermine a lot of the learning programs that seek to aid these communities today.
We'd like to thank you for attending our presentation. We do invite you to visit our LibGuide. We've had to record our presentation in advance of the actual presentation date, and so we'll have our bibliography and any other extra information posted there. You're also welcome to contact us at our email addresses that are posted below. I'm going to turn it over to Michael now.
Thank you again for listening to our presentation. As Lorin said, please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or any ideas, or there are some concepts that we brought up in our talk that you'd like to explore further or help us look into. I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to speaking with you in the future. Thank you.